Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. Jauan Jennings, future Viking.
Hey, this is Arif Hasan from Wide Left Football. I have forced Luke Braun away into the Steve King-ish version of Maine.
Steve King?
What's happening? Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Last episode, I may or may not have lied when I told you I've washed this sweatshirt.
Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcast. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. It's time for the Minnesota Football Party. It's your guys hanging out talking next level Vikings football. So join in with Arif Hasan, Locked On Vikings Luke Braun, Superior Sports Talks Luke Inman, and Vikings insider Sam Ekstrom, plus the biggest names in Minnesota football for the Minnesota Football Party. And it starts now.
Once again, welcome in. It's a brand new week in the Minnesota Football Party on Locked On Sports Minnesota's YouTube channel, Locked On Vikings YouTube channel, Locked On Vikings audio feed when the show is done, wherever you get your podcasts. Lots of ways to watch and listen. We appreciate it. Please comment. Please subscribe at Locked On Sports Minnesota. We're almost to 10,000 subscribers. You met Luke. You met Arif. No Braun. No Ron. Let's talk Vikings football today with a Jauan Jennings trade rumor. He might want out of San Francisco. We're going to continue ranking the Vikings' 91-man roster. We're at the halfway point, still 45 to go. We'll get through 15 more today. And I pose the all-important preseason question. How you feeling about the Vikings kicker? That's all coming up on today's program. A three-man panel today. The show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. I'm legitimately looking at Game Time, maybe to go to a preseason game and sit lower level for like $25. It's kind of a great way to enjoy the stadium. I'm checking that out. All right, Luke Inman, Arif Hasan, Vikings talk. Jauan Jennings, this broke this morning. I think Schefter had it, Rappaport had it, all the big reporters had it. Another disgruntled 49ers receiver. It's becoming a tradition unlike any other. He's in the last year of his deal, and he wants a new one. Or he wants out, Luke Inman. So I pose the question, would Jauan Jennings be an upgrade here? Vikings, they've got the relationship with San Francisco and Kwesi's been in that building, and they have Jordan Mason on the team right now. Would this make sense, a trade for a wide receiver 3 at this late date?
Well, plus he's got that chemistry with Ty Chandler going back to his Tennessee days, too. A lot of people forget about that. How much does he move the needle when you think about Jauan Jennings? That's the first question I kind of asked myself. I think he's a good wideout. I liked him as a day 3 pick when he was drafted, 7th round in San Francisco 4 years ago. I remember he had 5 touchdowns his rookie year. And then the next 2 years, years 2 and 3, didn't really do much, pretty quiet. It's not often you see a wideout quote unquote kind of breakout in his 4th year. But, think about it. Once Brandon Ayuk went down, he was kind of like a wide receiver 2 playing a wide receiver 1 role in that Shanny system is kind of the way I looked at it. And, I think about the Niners' point of view from this. I don't have their cap numbers in front of me, but I know over the next year or 2, maybe 3 years, they're going to be paying guys like Nick Bosa, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy just signed his new contract. We know what those quarterback contracts look like after a couple of years. Brandon Ayuk was signed to a monster deal. Fred Warner's making massive money. George Kittle. All those contracts are going to start to get super inflated. This is also why I think they drafted Ricky Pearsall in the 1st round too last year, by the way, just to kind of keep that position a well-oiled machine, if you will. So I don't know if they're going to cave in and give him this wide receiver 1/wide receiver 2 money he's kind of asking for. I also don't think if you're Shanahan, he's not going to be too pleased knowing they don't know what Brandon Ayuk's kind of status is right now, or at least how he's going to look early on by midseason, something like that with that leg injury that he had last year. And then you find out you might trade away the next guy in line too. So I imagine they try to keep him, whatever that looks like. But if not, for the Vikes specifically, I think Is he a good wide receiver? I think it'd be a big upgrade from Jalen Nailor at wide receiver 3. I certainly do. I've talked about this before. I'm worried about the depth if Addison gets suspended, if and when I should say, or if he were to get hurt for, 4, 5, 6 weeks at some point during the season as well. I'm not super excited about a guy like Ty Felton as a rookie anytime soon right now. But on paper, adding Jauan Jennings, yes, I think it would be fun. If he's asking for a new contract, though, what does that look like? Especially thinking about how much money the Vikings and Kwesi spent this year. There's a lot of money already tied up in 2026. So when you look at the Vikings wideouts specifically, I'm sure they're going to start talking about extending Jordan Addison here sometime relatively soon. To pay JJ what he's already making, to sign Addison to a new contract probably next year-ish is my guess, and then to also sign someone like Jauan Jennings to a new deal to be your wide receiver 3. I just don't think that makes a lot of sense logistically, cap wise, right? You just can't pay everyone all the time. You kind of got to pick and choose your battles once in a while. Paying a wide receiver 3 a healthy amount of money. I'm assuming again, if he's kind of threatening to hold out, he's asking for a decent chunk. Probably just doesn't make a ton of sense for the Vikings, just from a team building standpoint of Kwesi.
He's making 7.5 right now in the final year of his deal. I liken him to Darnell Mooney, Darius Slayton, Jacoby Myers. They're making between 11 and 13. Let's say the terms, Arif, are like you would need to extend him for 2 years, 25, or 3 years, 37.5. So like 12.5 million average annual value. Would that be untenable for you?
I think the issue here is that I think Jauan Jennings is worth in a vacuum more than 12.5 million a year. I think that he's a very good player. I thought that he essentially carried the 49ers passing game last year. I thought he did an outstanding job, and I think he did more than, kind of a 975 yard or whatever he was receiver last year. I think you just take a look at, what he put together on film and the circumstances San Francisco found themselves in. He was, I think, really great. And on top of that, he's a really great big-bodied blocker out of the slot, something that I don't really think the Vikings have, that they like to have. But I just think that other teams get more value out of him. Right. Like, I think that because he's a pretty decent wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, you're more likely to see a team that has one good receiver, like let's say the Steelers or the Jets, right?
Steelers, yeah.
That I think could get some use out of him more than the Vikings could. Plus, like Luke said, I mean, they don't really have a ton of cap space heading into 2026. I think negative 60 million right now, which, that can all move around, of course. Like, it's not actually going to be a cap crisis for the Vikings, but it does limit some of their options for 2026 and going forward. And so I don't know that it's the right move for the Vikings from a cap perspective. And, like Luke said, I think that he would be an upgrade. I think that you would add him to the roster. He'd become wide receiver 2 or 3. I think that, it allows you to put yourself in a better negotiating position against Jordan Addison, but I just don't really see the ability to outcompete another team that really wants to add a wide receiver 2 or 3, right? Like the Falcons, for example, would be better positioned, I think, to get some more use out of him than the Vikings would. And in theory, then, and not only do they have more cap space going forward, but in theory, then they should also be able to pay more in draft pick compensation.
I think, and by the way, love Jennings, the player. Third in contested catches last year, over 62%. He's a 60% contested catch guy in his career. Big slot, creates versatility. He was 12th in yards per route run last year, so hyper efficient. I love Jennings. He's 28, not that young. Not a lot on his last year of his deal. I don't think it would require an immense amount to get the trade done. The extension is the issue. If he would demand a new contract, I would trade.
I think that's part of the whole deal, right?
I think that's the he's not going to get traded for a first rounder. I mean, at this point, I think the Niners would take a 4th, 5th rounder. That's usually what these types of deals look like. It's all about where's he going and who's going to sign him, re-up him, right, to that new contract that he wants to get paid for sure.
Yeah, his contract is running out. Of course, he's going to get a new deal wherever he goes.
I would trade Jalen Nailor in the deal. I would give them Naylor. I would take Jennings, and I would try to sign him to a 2-year, $25 million deal and use void years and try to fit that in, try to make that work. I would front load it. I would pay more this year, so it's less against the cap next year because you're tighter against the cap. I think it'd be a huge upgrade, to be honest with you. And I think it'd be a little superfluous to have Naylor and Jennings and Felton and more. Like, then you get a little crowded. I would give up Naylor in the deal and give San Francisco something back, someone to fill a bit of that void. I think San Francisco would probably lose the deal. Like, what do you think the draft pick compensation would be back? Day 3 pick, 5th round pick?
Yeah. Is this with or without Naylor?
With Naylor.
With Naylor?
I would imagine it's at least I know he's older, but I would imagine it's at least a third. Honestly, I think that he's
at least a third.
Yeah, like, I know there's no time left on his contract and he needs a new contract, and that's part of the whole discussion. But anytime you're talking about a guy that you're really confident can be a wide receiver 2 or 3, I think you're going to get more than a day 3 pick.
Wow. That surprises me. And you could be right. But also, you're throwing in Jalen Naylor. I mean, what is he? He's worth.
My bad.
He's worth like a 3rd round pick, right? Right. Right. Love Jalen. We're trading him, but love him.
Yeah.
Great guy.
He was great against San Francisco last year. They probably, if they watched just one game, they'd probably say, "Wow,
that's right."
That key 3rd down late in the game, 3rd and 14, was it? Where Darnold threaded one in. Yeah. We like this Jalen Naylor guy.
I mean, that you joke, but that's like a genuine impact. Like, that's an effect that we see. Like, when you take a look at free agency and take a look at which teams sign which players,
Sam Darnold, Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Like, there is strong evidence that players end up in free agency going to teams where they had their 1st, 2nd, or 3rd best game against that, like, previous season. Like, it just happens. And, like, I don't know. Let's see if we can use that psychology to our benefit here. Let's see if we can get Jalen Naylor to sweeten the pot on the Jauan Jennings deal.
This feels like it's one of those slightly too splashy moves where you've got a GM and a coach who I think like to sit these out. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think there's a high likelihood of it happening. I, however, would be supportive of if it did. And I don't think we're talking about a washed corner here like Jair Alexander or who was the other guy that they just didn't sign? Help me out. Who did they pass on? Who went to...
Well, I remember we talked about Ramsey a lot, but
Ramsey's who I was thinking of.
Okay.
I think this would be a receiver coming into his prime. You're probably buying high on him. I get that. Maybe it's not a good process, but I think it upgrades the spot. I think it gives you 3 pretty unbelievable receivers. You have someone to fill that void when Addison is out much more effectively. And you've got TJ Hawkinson. And you've got injury insurance. Like, guys could get hurt.
And the suspension insurance too for Addison.
Precisely.
Yeah, no, nobody's going to. It's an upgrade for sure. It makes you feel a lot better about the wide receiver room, especially at the top for sure. It just comes out. They've spent so much money this offseason, which we all loved, right? You look at the roster on paper, it's fantastic right now. I think a lot of people are excited what they did, revamping the offensive line and then also the defensive line as well. But again, like salary, this isn't Madden. Salary cap's turned on. So unfortunately, I just look at 2026 and like Arif said, like it's all going to look different by the time we get there. Salary cap's a myth. We've had that conversation as well. There's so many things you can tweak and whatnot. It just doesn't seem like a move we've seen Kwesi make before. Let's just put it that way. It's not really a move that, we've seen on his resume. It doesn't mean he can't do it. And I think a lot of people will be excited about that wide receiver room. But, in Vegas right now, I think the Vikings would be outside the top 5, top 10 teams, I feel like, when it came to odds to trade for this dude.
I would say that if you don't have too many chess moves left to make with the money you have remaining, and if they chose to make this move at a medium high dollar amount at the expense of saving some money for a cornerback, during camp, I think that might upset some people, might upset me. I don't know if the options are as strong at corner, but if you did this and you said, all right, we were willing to spend money, we did a luxury move to get a receiver and not a corner that might compete to start. I get if people want to be upset about that. because that could be a liability for this team. It probably is a liability for this team. We might rank some corners as we get into our player ranking segment next, ranking Vikings 45 to 31, the 91-man roster. It's coming up on the Minnesota Football Party. Brought to you today by everybody's favorite Game Time. We've all been there. Log in early, waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, and you lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in to help. As the concert gets closer, and it might not be a concert, it might be WNBA, might be first pitch at Target Field, prices drop. Save up to 60% with their killer last-minute deals. So if you're tired of the endless scrolling trying to find the best value, check out Zone Deals with Game Time. Best seats in the section of your choosing. Ever wonder what your view will look like before you buy? They've got the panoramic seat view. No surprises. Also no hidden fees when you toggle on that feature. Game Time, indeed. I'm looking at Vikings preseason tickets as well. You can get an awesome seat in an awesome stadium for like $25 to go watch maybe JJ get a couple drives against the Texans. That's in like 3 weeks. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets, both concert and otherwise. McCartney's coming to town. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Game Time. Here we go, halfway through our Vikings 91-man roster rankings. We're going to share the screen and show you where we're at. We don't have Luke Braun today, so it's going to go a little faster. Luke Braun will have to fill his in at another time. Arif, you ended with these 5 at 50 to 46. You had Levi Drake Rodriguez, Gabe Murphy, Gavin Bartholomew, Jay Ward, and Rondale Moore is where you left off. Luke Inman, you went Moore, Eric Wilson, Zamiah Vaughn, Gabe Murphy, Dwight McGlothern for your final 5. And I had Levi Drake Rodriguez, Kobe King, Bo Richter, Taki Taimani, and Walter Rouse. So we go to number 45, and we go to Arif Hasan. Give me 5, man.
Went with Walter Rouse, Kobe King, Bo Richter.
You gotta talk slower.
Talk faster, dude.
You specifically asked us last time to rapid fire our 5. And you've seen me talk really quickly. I'm not going anywhere near the speeds that you can see me talk at. So
got footage.
You're just reaping.
Give some very short rationales, at least for your guys, so that I can catch up. Then I look a fool having to backtrack and ask you, and it's not good for the listener experience. So let's just talk a little.
It sounds like you asked us to do things that were bad for the listener experience, Sam. That's what I'm hearing.
I think you could have noticed that the host was struggling last week to keep up, and made the adjustment on the fly. That's just instinctual podcasting. You need to have instincts.
Awareness, Madden.
All right, I'm hearing that Sam doesn't like coachable players. Got it. All right, so Walter Rouse, backup tackle that's been demoted to backup guard, and I do think that that's a demotion. I think that they've decided that he's not going to take on the responsibilities of like a school, right? So like I think that with that in mind, he's not near the top of the offensive lineman list or anything like that. Kobe King, I liked him as a draft pick. I don't want to like knock him too hard, but late round draft picks will end up in this 44 range. Bo Richter, I probably should have ranked him lower, but I put him up here this high, quote unquote, this high. It's within the range of all of your rankings of Bo Richter because he saw actual snaps and stuff like that. So I wanted to give him some credit for that. Taki Taimani, that one was pretty hard, but I gave him the nod, I think well ahead of Levi Drake Rodriguez because again, he's received actual snaps. He's played I think really well in the limited snaps. I don't think that that's necessarily sustainable, but I wanted to point that out. And then Jalen Redmond. The Vikings have added, so many defensive linemen that it's really difficult to justify giving too many high spots to defensive linemen that aren't in the top 3 of that rotation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the theme of today's guys are they could play not at all, or they might play a lot. That's kind of how I felt about most of my 15 today. And I think that that could be said for Redmond, maybe Richter. Not sure about Kobe King, but as we get further down into the 30s, you're going to have a lot of players of that type. Luke Inman, give me 5.
Yeah, Taki at 45. Again, to Arif's point, and you just echoed it as well. Just kind of a crowded group right now. Don't know who's going to, especially with Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargraves now in the mix. Just don't know who's going to end up getting the most snaps in there and kind of floating to the top of that depth chart there. So Taki at 45, Bo Richter at 44, flashed a little bit. Fun UDFA story for sure. But, him, Gabe Murphy, again, just probably one too many bodies over there that they can keep on the 53. Maybe one of those guys goes to the practice squad once again. Kobe King, 43. I'm with Arif. I like the draft pick. Reminded me, I was watching the Viking-Falcon game on the Netflix series, quarterback. And I saw Jamin Davis, former first-round linebacker by Washington, by the way, on the sideline. I was like, oh, he had a sack in this game. Kobe King reminds me of that short, kind of thumper in the middle that they want him to be. And again, I'm not here like Arif to oversell a day 3 pick, but kind of intrigued about Kobe King. Just knowing that there's not a ton of bodies back there that they seem to be really high on developmental wise. They got Eric Wilson. They brought him in on a 1-year deal. Brian Asamoah seems like he's maybe on the way out unless things start really clicking this year. So Kobe King, 43. Jay Ward, I think I'm the highest of Jay Ward, not by a lot, but all 4 of us, I believe. Just seems like a wide open competition. He's entering year 3. I remember he flashed a little bit his rookie year versus the Cardinals in the preseason game. Hasn't really done much since, but they've leaned on a lot of veterans in that secondary the last 2 years as well. And then Jalen Redmond, 41, same situation as Taki. And I've got Ryan Wright at 40.
Ooh, going to 40. Nice. I will do.
Thanks,
40.
Luke.
Oh, you guys only did 5?
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
All good, though. All good. I got Jay Ward at
professionals.
45. Jay Ward still, to me, if not for the dearth of depth at safety, I don't think there's a wealth of it. Dearth of depth. How does that sound?
I like that.
I'm not sure Jay Ward would be a lock, but I don't think did they bring in a single UDFA safety? Did they draft like there's just not a lot of safeties on this team. So I think Jay Ward probably has a spot, but I'm not like
I don't even know how much I feel confident in saying Jay Ward is strictly a safety. It feels like they've used him in that in the box hybrid nickel corner slot role quite a bit as well too. So we just really haven't seen it. We just don't know what kind of they've prepped him for as far as like developing his traits for his unique skill set. So yeah, definitely will play some safety, but seems just kind of like a hybrid dude back there.
And I think they want to have somebody that can be Metellus if Metellus gets hurt. And maybe that's Jay Ward. Like they want to have a backup rover.
Yeah.
That's a key position in this defense. You can't just have, Metellus is out, we don't have a Metellus. No, you still need to have a Metellus. So that could be who that is. I would say Dwight McGlothern coming in at 44. And again, just no idea what is going to come of his career. I think they like him. I think we enjoyed some of what we saw in the preseason, but a lot of times there's a plateau and progress is not always linear. You expect that the fun UDFA who flashed as a rookie is going to take that next step. Doesn't always happen that way. So we just don't know what we're going to see from McGlothern. 43, Brian Asamoah. I think we've got him in similar spots. Again, could get beat out by King and Wilson and not make the team, or he could be your linebacker 3. I think that all of that is in play. 42, Ty Chandler. We're talking about a third string back now. I think you could have last year said he was a clear number 2, and a lot of people were optimistic. I certainly was, but this year he's a clear cut number 3, and he's got some pressure breathing down his neck with 3 other backs on this roster, 2 other backs, Stuart Scott. Hey, Stuart Scott.
Rip.
Yeah. But I can't put Chandler much higher than that when he's a third string guy. And at 41, go with the long snapper, Pro Bowler, Andrew DePaula. Am I the lowest on Andrew DePaula?
It sounds like it.
I think you
I
might
mean,
be, yeah.
It's kind of like a process of the way I
Yeah.
did this list, right? Like I wanted to do it really quickly, and so it separated players immediately into starter, non-starter, and then the non-starters are separated into like rotational, non-rotational. And so I ranked them in chunks after having done that, and DePaula is technically a starter, so it was pretty difficult for me with my process to have him in the 40s.
Well, Arif, why don't you give us your 40 through 36?
Sure. Sam Howell. I'm supposed to give an explanation now so that you have the ability to type out the very long name of Sam Howell.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have him behind Brett Rippon, who I haven't ranked yet, not by a ton, but not in this 5-player group. I don't see him getting past Rippon for the second spot at the moment, but I do think that it's definitely possible. Obviously, there's a lot more draft capital over the course of their respective careers that have been invested in Sam Howell, but I just think that having knowledge of the offense and being probably a little bit more consistent gives Brett Rippon that advantage. And then Justin School, who I just mentioned in the Walter Rouse section, I think that he's a fine backup offensive lineman, and that's kind of how you end up at 39. I don't think that that's a problem. Dwight McGlothern, cornerback. I'm kind of in the same spot where I don't really know where to put him, but I do think that he is more well-positioned than a lot of these corners, especially because he's the only one with size. And I think that's just going to give him a little bit of advantage over, this middle group of corners that we've been talking about a lot.
I like that you have him that high. I think that's the highest of anybody, I believe. Sam?
Maybe.
Have you?
Yeah, it is.
McGlothern? Yeah.
Braun, Inman, and I'm
excited about him
between 44 and 48, and Arif has him at 38.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, baby. And then I got Ty Chandler. Same thing that you said about him at 42, right? He's a third running back. I don't know that there's as much pressure from the bottom as you're saying, but I think we don't disagree that much on him. And then Jeff Okudah. I don't think it's a lock that he's got, a rotation with the starting corners. And so to me, 36 seems appropriate for that. In fact, I feel like I'm ranking him too high. I just don't know who I'd bump above him.
Luke Inman, you gave us 40. You gave us Ryan Wright, holder/punter, who you got 39 through 36.
Ty Felton. I'm just not super excited about Ty Felton right now. 39 though, not like ridiculously low. I don't know where you guys are going to have Ty Felton at, but and again, he could prove me wrong in the next year or two. I just feel like even if Addison gets suspended for, call it 3 games at the beginning, that's a lot. I feel like just kind of watching Felton's tape coming out to throw on his plate and expect him to step into that number 3 starting role once Naylor bumps into the number 2 there. I just don't have a lot of high expectations this year right now. Sometimes it takes a couple of years for these wideouts to develop. DePaula at 38, Chandler at 37. I'm with you guys. Like, it feels like we're all clinging on to, the Denver Bronco game. Was that 2 years ago when he had that great game on, I think it was Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. Just hasn't been super consistent. Obviously, like you said, Sam, he's your running back 3 now. Walter Rouse, 36. Arif kind of touched on him already. I feel like the fact that, just echo your same thoughts. I feel like the fact that he's getting reps, and now it's early, but the fact that he's getting reps at guard, you got School in at left tackle now, kind of speaks volumes just to where he's kind of at from the coach's lens with his development. And it's only year 2, and it's still early in the process as far as the offseason workouts go. So Walter Rouse sitting there at 36.
I'm going to go Eric Wilson, number 40. Didn't he wear the number 40 with the Vikings last time? I feel like he did.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So an honorary number 40 for Eric Wilson. I've got him 3 spots ahead of Asamoah and 9 spots ahead of Kobe King, because I think he has a slight lead in that battle, just because Asamoah, at some point in August of 2023, he lost favor. Flores came in here and Flores decided, there's something about this guy. He doesn't fit what I want. I want Ivan Pace. And I want other people in front of Asamoah too. He got totally dumped down the depth chart. So I've got Wilson leading that battle at number 40. Number 39, we're going to go with Rondale Moore, another player that I described, I just don't know. I don't know how much we're going to see of him. I don't know if he's probably ahead of Ty Felton. I would guess, but actually, I think I need a mulligan. I'm sorry, I don't have Ty. I want Ty Felton below Rondale Moore right now, so I'm actually going to put Ty Felton there. Yeah,
is that your mully?
Yep. That's my mulligan. I got to make
Wow.
up. Yeah, I didn't want to have to use my mulligan that way, but that was a mistake on my part. So 39, Ty Felton. And again, folks, we allow a mulligan a day if we mess up. And inevitably, we're going to get down, like Inman has like 89 guys on his list. He forgot 2 people. And I'm probably going to have the same thing once we get to like from 15 to 1. I'm probably going to have some like third string nose tackle.
Justin Jefferson at number 2. I missed something somewhere. I don't know. I'm missing a guy somewhere.
38, Jeff Okudah. I'm high on Okudah, relatively speaking, but I still think this has to be where he slots in. He could be anywhere from starting cornerback to cut or cornerback 6. I don't know. There's a very wide dispersion range on Jeff Okudah. I've got Ryan Wright at 37, the punter. He is probably going to beat out Oscar Chapman, and he's going to be a holder, and he's an important part of the battery. And 36, Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins. Let me ask you guys this off the cuff. Which of the day 3 picks is most vulnerable? Dawkins, King, or Bartholomew to getting cut from this team?
I think Bartholomew.
I think Bartholomew. The thing is, Bartholomew, I think, has like an easier path.
He does, yeah.
Right? Because it's just like we don't know who tight end 3 is, and the team certainly wants more than 2 tight ends. Whereas like Ingram-Dawkins is up against, this like really, really large room of defensive linemen along with a lot of investment up front. But at the same time, it feels like it's less of a shock if he ends up getting
I think it comes down to just if both these guys we viewed at, regardless, different positions, sure, but viewed at as like similar talent levels, we would definitely lean. Oh, well, Dawkins has, like you said, Arif, Dawkins got a way bigger hill to climb. I think Dawkins has a lot more raw, just kind of athletic ability, whereas Bartholomew, it just doesn't really excite anybody. He doesn't have that one fun, flashy, sexy trait that you can just kind of go, well, if they can develop everything around this, and then plus tight ends.
Watch him become the next George Kittle. Like, man, I don't know if this guy could make the team. He doesn't really have a standout trait.
Did you hear that podcast with Inman when he said, he's not talented? No, I know young tight ends. I think it's kind of almost gets glossed over a little bit too much how big of a leap it is going from college to the pros, because so many of these guys lean on their pass catching prowess and the blocking that you have to be able to like get in a game and get actual snaps is on such a different level than a lot of these guys are used to. And the level that they played at in college. So I think it's a big leap. I think also too, sure, could they keep him on the practice squad and develop him? Absolutely. But I just feel like Dawkins, I remember when he got drafted, everybody started watching some tape, reading about him, this and that. He's just a ball of just kind of raw athletic clay to be molded. So kind of the opposite of Gavin Bartholomew right now.
We will rank 35 through 31. 5 more on today's docket as we roll on. Plus, I asked the question later, how are we feeling about year 2 of Will Reichard? All right, the rankings continue. We're closing in on the 2/3 mark of our list. We're at number 35. Arif Hasan, take it away.
Let's see. I almost closed out of my my spreadsheet, but we're good. Don't worry about it. Ty Felton. I think that I've expressed kind of my skepticism of him in the past. I know that both of you have him lower than I do, but I think that I'm lower on him talent-wise. I just think that when you have that much investment in a player, it's just they're going to try to find ways to use him. And I think that while that might be unwise, that ends up meaning he has a bigger impact than some of the guys that, I like more but are ranked lower on the list. Then I've got Ryan Wright, which is very in line where the rest of you have him, again, because he is a starting player. The way that I did this makes it really difficult for me to rank him in the 40s. But I think he is a little bit better, just like given his career history, than we're giving him credit for. It's just he's coming off of, 2 years ago, he was really mediocre. He's coming off of like not a top 10 year or anything like that. Which is like concerning given that there's only 32 teams, right? But I think that his raw talent is there. So I guess maybe that's part of the reason I ranked him higher. Then I got Jalen Naylor. I mean, we've been hearing about how talented he's been for a while. We've seen it when we've had camp access, but it's been tough to see it kind of actualized on the field. And so I don't want to give too much credence to like camp hype for this guy for consecutive years without seeing it kind of materialize. I like him a lot. I think that he's a good player, but I just think he needs to prove it a little bit more. And then this one I might mulligan in a future episode now that I'm looking at it, but Jordan Mason. And I think it's just because I separated the starters and the backups, right? And maybe I should have considered him as a proto starter or something like that. I like him a lot. But I think that the lack of explosive playmaking from him kind of limits his ceiling. And then I got Brett Rippon. So yeah, looking at Jordan Mason and Brett Rippon together, I know I'm probably going to use a mulligan later to move Jordan Mason up.
You have Brett Rippon.
This is what happens when you open an email minutes before a show weeks ago and quickly produce a ranking and don't look at it again.
That is biggest.
How big's the Brett Rippon fat head above your wall, above the bed?
So they don't make them. I had to custom order. I have it both in Wyoming and Vikings. So there's two, and they're both. It's really wonderful actually. It transitions from the Wyoming uniform to the Vikings uniform.
Is it as big as the discrepancy?
Like those old sports flicks baseball cards where you like, depending on where you move, like you move your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's everything is angled slightly. So yeah, so when you move, the light catches it in one way. It's the Wyoming jersey, and then it's the Vikings jersey.
This really is the discrepancy on Rippon. I've got him 71. Inman has him 51. Arif has him 31. Braun has him. Stop me if you see it.
He was kind of low on him, wasn't he?
Was he?
Brosmer.
He definitely has Brosmer ranked lower. So
okay, maybe not. Okay,
has he not?
So we don't know.
We don't know.
Okay. Don't say anything. Next show, don't say anything.
Yeah, could be 45. Could be 10.
Dang, be 10 for sure. That's a possibility. We have to consider.
10. All right, Luke Inman.
Where we're at 35.
35.
Tim Jones. Love that guy. Tim Jones.
Jones.
We've seen it. We know what he can do. Is he alpha wide receiver one? No, but I think he's not only going to make the team, but some special teams, going to catch a handful of balls this year. Tim Jones, 35. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, 34. We already touched on him. Jeff Okudah, maybe I'm a little bit higher on him. Not by much, but a couple spots. I think the way this defense has been built, and as we've seen with Brian Flores, the talent up front, this pass rush is so deadly when they can pin their ears back. I'm not saying it's an easy job playing an NFL cornerback position, but I just feel like if you can just stay with some of these guys for those 3.5, 4 seconds, like I know Jeff Okudah can, although as we've seen with Detroit last year when we really started to hone in on some of those Lions games, he's obviously the big thing. He's too grabby. That's the number one thing that needs to be cleaned up. But I still have some I don't want to say confidence maybe, but I still have a little bit of faith in his just pure talent coming out of Ohio State from, I guess that was 4 years ago now. Justin School, 32, like him, solid backup left tackle. None of these backup tackles are, obviously meant to be in there for 16, 17 games. They're going to get exposed eventually. But if you need a left tackle to slide in for Darisaw for a couple games, I'm content with it. Justin School, there could be worse. Let's put it that way. And then 31, Mekhi Blackman.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's perfect for Blackman. I also think another big discrepancy, Tim Jones. I'm fading Tim Jones, as they say it in the.
Yeah, you got him really low, right?
You've got him 35. I've got Tim Jones 81.
That's like
not on the Tim Jones
really bad
bandwagon.
Okay,
No.
who's 80 and 82? Like, who's he sandwiched? Like, what comparable talent levels are we talking with Tim Jones?
Marcellus Johnson,
Right?
tackle.
Good. That's a guy.
And Michelle Powell,
that's
the
a
safety.
name. Yeah,
he's right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I view Tim Jones maybe a bit like Khalif Hailasi. He's floated around. He's played some games. It comes down to special teams.
I feel like if Tim Jones were going to get cut from the Vikings,
Mhm.
somebody's going to pick him up. I'm not saying he's like going to jump into the wide receiver 3 role with anybody, but like I just feel like he's an NFL player, albeit maybe it's just a special teams wide receiver 5 guy. But I feel like he's kind of proven that he should be on somebody's NFL roster, at least in that minimal kind of capacity and role.
I'm banking on players like my number 35, Tavier Thomas, to win these special teams jobs. I like that Thomas is not a one-trick pony. He can play defense. He's a special teams player. He's a defensive player. He's played well on defense in his career. He's my number 35. Number 34, Rondale Moore. This is where I have him a little above. Come on, type.
Nope.
Type.
Nope.
Are you
there
watching
you go.
this? There we go. He's above Ty Felton. Little birdie told me that Rondale Moore's moving around really well at practice, moving around really well. That's the big concern, is his health. But when I hear that from a reliable source, I'm going to believe it. I'm going to elevate Rondale Moore a little bit right now. Blake Brandel, number 33. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he starts games this year, I don't think we want this to happen, but beats out Donovan Jackson, whether he moves over and plays tackle in place of Christian Darrisaw, whether he slots in at any of the four positions besides center and fills in for injury. I think Blake Brandel could be your first guy off the bench. It's a pretty important backup role. Number 32, Justin School. He's probably the favorite to play those left tackle snaps for Christian Darrisaw. So I'll give him that edge because there's just a very clear 4 to 6 game stretch where he could be playing meaningful football for this team. And number 31, Sam Howell. I think this is where you put the backup quarterback. That's where Arif has Brett Rippon, who he's got a fat head of. That's
yeah. Okay.
Sam
I think
Howell.
for my mulligan, can we put Brett Rippon at 37 and then move everyone else up? I think that's maybe the best move here.
All right. Let's see if I can. What are the odds that I can navigate this on Excel? So we're gonna.
Well, first of all, this is Google Sheets, so right now we know the odds are 0.
And I did it. I think that worked. Did anything explode? Did it break? Did I freeze?
I mean, probably we won't know for maybe 2-3 years, but someone's villain origin story just began.
I've done irreparable damage to the ether. All right, Luke Braun's got to get caught up when he returns to the show. Next time we will do 30 through 16 and then conclude the start of training camp week with 15 through number 1. When we come back, how are we feeling about Will Reichard year 2? Can he avoid the sophomore slump of a Blair Walsh? And any fan questions you have, ask those as well as the football party rolls on. All right, and we're excited for the Locked On NFL Top 100 Players list dropping on Wednesday, network-wide. We will debate the list on Thursday's show. All right, guys, this is the question of the day. Will Reichard, year 2, he had a prodigious start for a rookie, got hurt, missed some games, missed some kicks later in the year, ended the season, I think, 24 of 30. What's our confidence level in Will Reichard going into his sophomore year, Arif Hasan?
He didn't miss an extra point, right? He was 100% on those, so.
Got to double check that, but that sounds right. That does sound right.
I guess I'm not crazy confident. I know, okay, he got injured, he comes back, he's worse after he's injured, and it's pretty intuitive to say, hey, those misses are related to recovery from injury, but actually, Luke Braun wrote a piece for Wide Left about how Will Reichard's hot start probably isn't going to be all that sustainable, and it wasn't. And I think that is kind of useful, just given kind of the mechanics of his kicking and stuff like that. So I'm a little bit concerned. I think that, when push comes to shove, we should default to the 1 year of data that we have, which is generally quite positive. So I don't want to say I'm overly concerned, but I do think that there are reasons to say, hey, this guy might not be a top 10 kicker. When you don't have a top 10 kicker, you're looking for a kicker.
Yeah,
did you see this comment from Remember the River?
Yeah, I mean, props to you, by the way, for cherry picking that out.
Nice.
I would love.
I'll harass him about it when he comes back from the dead.
I would love if you can confirm that on our list here, Sam.
I did confirm it. 64. Oh. I could have typed wrong, but 64 and 57 is what I have.
What's funny is that it's not like he had accidentally meant to put Bubba Bolden there, because we had discussed 3 or 4 times that Bubba Bolden was actually off the roster, and so that's not it. That's the best part. No.
Well, now I'm in trouble because I still don't have Will Reichard in my list, which I know I'm, kind of the vicinity I'm going to put him in. So I feel like I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I got 91 guy. I went from 89 to 91, perhaps, which is right. They have 91,
right? Yeah, it's 91.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We will. Will Reichard, your thoughts?
Will Reichard, I am fully expecting to revert back to the mean, just because I have high expectations for a Viking kicker. It was so fun. I mean, whether it's Greg Joseph, a lot of our Daniel Carlson, a lot of kickers that have came through here. Blair Walsh had that first great season, obviously. We all know the long history with Vikings kickers, and I think we all just share the pain. And I think it's just only natural as Vikings fans to just be pessimistic about our Vikings kickers. Having said that, I had low expectations for Reichard coming in last year, and to see how he performed before the injury, I was maybe not blown away, but I was like, oh man, this guy's an NFL kicker. Now, obviously that can change with kickers year to year for sure, but I feel like going into year 2, hopefully 100% healthy. If he can stay healthy, the full slate, another year with Matt Daniels, the special teams coach, I'm expecting similar results, if not even a little bit better, a little bit more consistent as well. So I think the talent is there. The leg is there, like we saw, kicking indoors in a dome half the season as well. Obviously helps your chances. You got to love that if you're a kicker. But I'm expecting good things for sure. Knowing that, just knowing the Vikings history, I'm also expecting complete doomsday disaster. So.
Here's my take on Reichard. I don't know if we're sure yet. I don't know if we're sure that he had a great year, because A, the injury muddies things. B, he had a very low leverage kicking season. Like the reliever that you bring in the 6th inning when it's a 7-run game. Like he only had 1 kick all year where the game was separated by, or I'm sorry, in the 4th quarter, I should say, he only had 1 kick when the game was separated by 3 or less. Against the Jets, he had a kick to go up from 3 to 6. But like, listen to some of the context of the kicks he made late in games.
Wait a minute, the Jets game in London in the 4th quarter was 3 to 6?
No, the margin. The margin was 3
got it. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Up by 3, made a kick to go up 6.
Sure, got it.
41-yarder. But I looked at all of his
not even kicks. Like that critical of a kick, right? Because like that's almost one you don't want them to take, right? Like you just prefer they try to go for it, because now the Jets are going to try to go for a touchdown instead of a field goal to tie the game, and that's honestly worse for you.
Yeah, that's the one you almost you're trying to shank it 20 yards left. Even his biggest kicks were relatively easy kicks, like the 27-yarder against San Francisco. It put them up 9. It clinched the game. It's a 27-yard kick. Very similar.
Hey, whoa! We do not have the history yards to be knocking 27 yards.
The bar is low, and that was right down the middle too. I mean, no doubt about it too.
All right, I stand corrected. Well, he also made a 33-yarder against Green Bay.
Oh, you got to make a 33.
Sam, can you make a 33-yarder? I can't. Arif? I can't.
Is
Just saying.
Arif trying to block me, or is it someone with a little more wingspan?
Well, you got to Paul
Excuse
up
me,
front,
I'm
so.
7 feet tall. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, how much of this, conversation, I mean, do you got to kind of revolve around Andrew DePaula, too? I mean, you just got one of the best right up front blocking for you, too.
And and he missed some time, but was that
That's
when?
right. Yeah, that's
was
right.
that when
You're right.
the same time frame though when Reichard was out? So he never actually.
I think at least they overlapped at least a week, right? One game.
Yeah.
Was it
Yeah,
the
it's
Jacksonville game when they relied on the backup kicker for pretty much every drive, every point?
And didn't Ryan Wright have to save a couple snaps for McQuaid?
Sounds right.
I think that was the case. Here's my point.
I'm using my mulligan. Bump up Ryan Wright a couple spots. Forgot about that.
Got him.
We'll replace the second Silas Bolden with Ryan Wright, and then we'll move Wright somewhere in the order. Write that down for next time.
For sure, gonna do that.
There's a lot of kicks, a lot of late game kicks where it was like 34-7 against Houston, or 30-12 against Chicago, or it was like a really short kick. Like of course you have to make that. His misses, likewise, he was 5 of 8, I think. No, 8 of 11. He was 8 of 11 from 50 and beyond. That's great. He missed 3 super long ones, 57, 53, 51, and then a couple he missed when he had the injury. I think it was the Colts game. So I'm not mad at the misses that much, and I'm not like overjoyed with the makes. I didn't think he was clutch because he didn't have to be. He showed he had a great leg. I just don't think we got a super good read on his season because of how well the Vikings were doing. And he was usually kicking from positions of strength for the game and the team. So
I think that's fair. Not enough data. Still in the information collecting stage. I get it. I think that's fair. I will say, though, just as a rookie kicker, I mean, you don't see a ton of rookie kicker. I'm trying to think who the last rookie kicker to come in and just dominate. Was it McPherson for the Bengals when they went to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that was
It just doesn't happen a lot. So you're right. What I'm saying is I'm with you. Like, let's give it another year, hopefully 2, and just see how this all pans out. But so far, I see the potential. I see why they used a draft pick on a kicker, right? I kind of get it. So hopefully he can stay healthy, knock on wood, and hopefully he gets more opportunities as well in those high pressure situations that you're talking about as well, Sam.
Yeah, I misremembered a little bit the Blair Walsh collapse. I thought it happened more starting in 2013, but no, that was the last year of the Dome. He was still pretty good that year. He regressed from 50 and beyond. He went from 10 of 10.
Almost impossible to stay at the same bar. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But that was a big drop off, though, too. 2 of 5. Yeah. That was a huge
2 of 5. But he only missed one other kick that entire year. It's really the year they went outside, 2014. He went 26 of 35 from field goal range, which, 74%, probably bottom 5 in the league, I would guess, without looking it up. It never really, and then 2015 comes along, misses the kick against Seattle, does not recover from that. The moved back extra point was cataclysmic for Blair Walsh. And I think that happened in, was it 15 or 14? I think they moved the kick back, and that for a lot of kickers, just bamboozled them. And Blair Walsh was never the same. So, Kit, let's see, Family Feud style. Can we name, what was the progression? So from Walsh, we went to Forbath.
Should have kept
Forbath to Daniel Carlson.
For 2 weeks,
2 games. Dan Bailey.
And also, someone in the comments, Sloth asks, wasn't there a team that victory lapped and tweeted that's why you draft a kicker, and that guy completely whiffed? I think that was the Bengals. And Evan McPherson had an outstanding rookie year, but then after that,
I think the Browns did draft. I may be going too far back, but
no, you're right. The Browns also tweeted
a very highly touted kicking prospect that just totally tanked.
Yeah, the Browns tweeted that on, of course, September 11th, 2022. And then after that, it kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So we went
Dan Bailey,
Dan Carlson, Dan Bailey.
Greg Joseph then won the job in 20, maybe 20.
Maybe
away
20.
from Bailey.
Maybe 20. Yeah.
Because Bailey was the kicker, I think, in the playoff win in the playoffs that year. Joseph took over 2020 or 2021.
Well, when was that crazy week 2 Cardinals game? Kyler Murray throws a just
21
duck. That was 21?
That was 21.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember. 2020, Dan Bailey had the Bucks game. Remember that? Bucks game missed 4 kicks. And after that, they brought Joseph on for a tryout and maybe even put him on the practice squad, but they kept Bailey around for the rest of the year. I think I'm remembering that correctly.
That sounds
maybe I'm
right.
wrong.
And Joseph came from what, the Titans and the Browns, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, didn't do great with any of them, or in Minnesota for that matter.
Turns out.
And now the baton has been passed to Will Reichard, you lucky guy. Training camp starts in less than 2 weeks, fellas. Can't wait to get that going. We'll have reports, of course, from all that's coming out of there. I'm sure some semblance of Inman, Arif, myself will be out there checking it out from the stands. Say that again.
Some combination. Who's to
say?
Some
iteration of this group. Final couple minutes. Any fan questions, you can drop them in there. Sloth, yes, I think we got to the bottom of that. Macho Meach wants to point out that Will Reichard made his early game kicks so he didn't have high leverage kicks. 4D chess. I like that from Macho.
Chicken or the egg. Love that.
Sloth says, did Riley Patterson ever kick from Minnesota, or did he just hang out on the practice squad?
Memphis. Riley Patterson.
Preseason
practice squad, right?
And then practice squad.
Preseason. Yeah.
And then 8 NFL teams.
Yeah.
He has been everywhere.
Yeah.
Without really landing anywhere.
Kickers are tough. I mean, if you got the same kicker for 6, 7, 8 years, you did something great. I mean, it's just a lot of hot and cold ebbs and flows with NFL kickers, it feels like. And if you can find one for a handful or 2 years, then you kind of had a huge advantage just to not have to worry and stress about that competition year in and year out. So, yeah, hopefully Reichard's that guy. Knock on wood.
These are the kicking percentages for the last 10 years in the NFL. I just think this is fascinating. And I could go back even further, but like since 2014, 84% field goal, 84.5, 84.2, 84.3, 84.7. Major outlier in 2019, 81.6. I remember this. I wrote an article about the kicking epidemic, and I asked Marwan Malouf about it. Then it goes back 84.6, 85.1, 85.0, 85.9, back down to 84. So you see a little uptick, but the science of it, like the exactitude that people are making 84% of their field goals for the last 12 years, it's kind of eerie, isn't it?
Yeah.
That it's that consistent.
I mean, yeah, it's yes. And also, like, I think part of it is that it is correcting itself in that direction. I think the more accurate your kickers are, the more likely you are to put them into positions where you're going to make less accurate attempts, right? And so I think when you've got a kicker that's kicking above 85%, you feel a little bit more comfortable, having him line up for a 48-yarder or a 52-yarder or something like that. So I think some of that is like, oh, well, we're making a ton of kicks, so we might as well, take some risks here because I think we can make it. So I think some of it's like self-correcting. Like I think once individual kickers get above 90, people are just like, well, you got to kick. This guy's automatic. Yeah.
Also, too, there's a lot of just like garbage attempts at the ends of halves and the ends of game where it's just like, all right, it's 4th and 14. We're at this is a 67-yard field goal, but this is the best we got right here.
Right. Yeah.
But again, that's probably consistent year in and year out, though, too.
I think you're right. I think that probably has a really small effect on the overall percentage, but I think that is increasing just because kickers have the leg for that now.
Yeah.
Whereas like 10 years ago, 4th and 14, you're 67 yards away. If you attempt to kick, you're just going to punt it and assume that they're not going to score as opposed to kick this insane field goal.
8.7 50-plus yard attempts per team last year. So almost 9 50-plus yard attempts per team.
So one every other game.
One every other game. Go back 10 years. The average was 4.8.
Hey,
dude,
I've been validated.
Wow. Can we cut that part out?
It's a live show, baby.
I'm so in the weeds with this. Okay, the first year that like the league average kicking data was tracked, 1938. Guess so like the 10-year chunk, 1938 to 1948. I'm going to give you some percentages. League-wide field goal percentage. 40.6, 38.8, 39.6, 39.8. 1943, maybe there was something with the war, the draft, maybe the kickers weren't there. 23.5.
It's crazy. The military said, "Hey, we need bodies. We got to get your best kickers," which is, I'm sure, how the draft worked back then, for sure.
I think we stumbled.
Well, no, but I mean, like, think about it. Like before, like the '60s, we didn't have dedicated roster spaces for kickers, right? It was just somebody
like who's the best on the team. Yeah.
So like often it was a quarterback because they would also punt. Very often, like Paul Hornung, for example, led the league in points because he was both a running back that scored touchdowns and also kicked, which led to his fraudulent Hall of Fame case, of course. But I have opinions. But yeah, you would have a lot.
It's always the last couple minutes of the show.
Right, yeah. But you'd have a lot of like position players that would kick. So actually the war might have had an effect where, you know, people were shamed for not going to the war. And so, you know, you're young, you're athletic, you're able-bodied, so you volunteer for the war. And if you're a better athlete, one presumes that you're more likely to be kind of socialized into going into war. And then now you've got, you know, the Pennsylvania Steagles without a kicker.
Want to guess the first year where a team averaged one 50-yard kick per season.
One per season. 75.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 79.
66.
Wow.
Teams tried 1.1 per season, and they made 0.1 per season.
0.1?
They made 0.1. It was like the equivalent of a 60-yard kick now, I would say. Right? Like we're probably
again. I feel like that was like end of the game, end of half. Like, all right, our best option, I guess, is to just throw this guy out there, and maybe he can hit a 50-yarder with the wind at his back.
With the wind, yeah.
Gosh, this is interesting. So in the weeds. Thursday, Luke Braun still gone to Arif's glee, but we will continue ranking.
Right.
We will evaluate the top 100 list. And plenty
Luke,
more.
he would have loved this conversation about kickers.
I know.
Poor guy.
We miss you, man. I think he's out east. Hope he's enjoying himself. Arif doesn't hope so. Thanks a lot for watching, listening, commenting, subscribing. We'll be back on Thursday. Care 11 show on Wednesday with Julia Daniels, Ron Johnson, and we will talk to you next time. Thanks so much.